Hello from the Dukascopy TV studio in Geneva. We are talking about investment possibilities into Baltic States with Mr. Christoph Sievers. He is founder of Sievers Development. Welcome, Mr. Sievers, to the studio today.
Welcome. Thank you very much for receiving me today.
Thank you. And so we will talk about investment possibilities into Eastern European and former Soviet Union countries, and especially after breakdown of Soviet Union countries, investment there has been seen as a real opportunity, but now investors are discouraged, especially after an unstable political climate after the Ukraine or in the Ukraine crisis. So where do we stand today when it comes to the Baltic states? Has the EU membership given some stabilization and some better perspective for them?
I think it certainly does. Already when we visited about a year ago, or a bit over a year ago, NATO was the most important link of these Baltic states into the international environment. And NATO has promised now, after the Russian threat having been increased quite dramatically, to station one brigade in the 3 states of the Balticum all the time. So basically 3,000 to 5,000 soldiers will be there all the time. Now this, together with the Euro integration, all 3 have accepted to introduce the euro into their own monetary system, has brought them a lot of synergies and integration, having the background of a very dynamical environment in these small countries of about 5 million people.
Mm-hmm. And which economies do you see as particularly strong? Which sectors do you think have potential to grow and have challenges?
I think the sectors with the challenge are all those that export to Russia. Take agriculture, for example. Lithuania, being the most dependent one, has exported about 20% of its produce to Russia. Now obviously these exports are under pressure. Also under pressure is transportation. A lot of the Russian goods being exported to the West and imported from the West go through Lithuanian ports. So these 2 sectors are quite heavily affected. Not affected, quite on the contrary, is energy production. So the Baltic states have tried to become more independent. Lithuania has established an LNG plant, or an LNG island, where they have their own independence in terms of energy production. You also have further industries that thrive, like for example manufacturing. There's a lot of firms, and we will see an example later on, that have been more and more offshoring manufacturing production to the Baltic states. Last but not least, you have the services, which are also booming. So in Estonia, for example, you have all the IT related services, and the proximity to Finland, where there's a lot of exchange over the borders.
Mm-hmm. In the last interview we had here in the Dukascopy TV studio, you referred to the need that the Baltic states need to transfer from an Eastern-style economy to more a Western-style economy. Where do these states stand today?
They have made a lot of progress. Take the example of the Swiss cooperation support we have instigated in consequence of the EU support initiative. Switzerland has invested about 1 billion into eastern states, and we have helped stabilize many sectors. Like, for example, we have helped cleaning ports, like Klaipėda. It has been helped clean up from the former Soviet Union occupation. Then we have also stabilized parliamentary services. We have helped hospitalization services. So a lot of different areas have been cooperated into these states, and not only the Swiss, of course, all the others. The European Union have made big efforts into these areas. Mm-hmm. And the countries have gladly accepted it, and more people are coming back from overseas, from the Western European nations, and they also bring back knowledge into the sector.
Especially after the Ukraine crisis, integration towards Europe has become an issue again. The Baltic States, especially Lithuania and Estonia, have large minorities from Russia. So do you expect that a conflict about Western integration or integration towards Russia is going to hinder the further development of the Baltic States?
I don't think so. You have two movements. On one side, the Baltic States help the Ukrainians find their own way to democracy. One of the high political exponents in the Ukrainian government is a Lithuanian. I think it's a policy, economics or policy making government body. Further, you have integration into Poland, and you have integration into Western Europe as far as the domestic people are concerned, but the Russians, who are mainly a factor in Latvia and in Estonia, they are integrating better the more time goes by, especially the younger people. They also know the local language. You also have the right to vote on a local level in Estonia for non-Estonish speaking people, and in Latvia, where the problem is the most serious one, because Riga is more prominently Russian than non-Russian, integration has made progress. So it's mostly the old people that seem to be affected, because they watch Russian TV, and Russian TV, of course, is a factor of concern in these circumstances.
So let's finish this part, this interview, with a question for investment opportunities. Which investments do you see that show minimal risks and good returns in the Baltic States?
I would like to take an example. Best investments are those geared to industry. So a lot of companies, Swiss companies, have invested in Estonia, in Latvia, also in Lithuania. And they have started manufacturing their parts, or at times even full units of production. Bucher is a manufacturer of municipal instrument and tools, as you see it attached. Little machinery that goes all over the place. So for example, these little cars cleaning the roads, or also used for snow plowing, they go to Russia. They have exported last year 52 million, this year 30 million for the township of Moscow of such machinery. And they have a big plant in Latvia, in Ventspils, and that's where they basically will expand. And just today I learned from a friend of mine who has come back from the Baltics yesterday, or the day before yesterday, that another firm, MDC, which is specializing also in manufacturing, has invested further amounts into, in this case, Estonia. So what happens, to sum it up, is that these companies bring more money to the place to produce more locally. And don't forget, the discrepancy of salaries is quite large. For example, in Ventspils, Bucher pays about 1/7 on average for an hourly salary they pay in Switzerland.
So there are real investment opportunities in the Baltic States. Mr. Christoph Sievers, thank you very much for being here today.
Thank you as well for receiving me. Thanks a lot.
And thanks for watching. Do make sure to keep clicking back on the Dukascopy TV website for latest updates and exclusive interviews. Have a great day and see you next time.